The Roman Empire. You think you know it. Big white pillars, guys in bedsheets stabbing each other, and salad. But actually, it's the story of how a tiny swamp village filled with criminals managed to accidentally conquer the entire known world, build the coolest stuff in human history, and then spectacularly set itself on fire. We are talking about 1,000 years of genius, madness, betrayal, and questionable wolf milk dietary choices. So, grab your popcorn, or your dormice dipped in honey. Yes, they ate that. Because we are doing the whole thing, right now. This is the Roman Empire. Let's go back to 753 BC. Italy is just a collection of tribes fighting over cows. And in the middle of nowhere, we have our protagonists, Romulus and Remus, twin brothers, sons of Mars, the god of war. Which sounds cool, until their uncle throws them into the Tiber River to drown. Classic ancient family bonding. But they don't drown. Instead, they wash ashore and are found by a she-wolf. Yes, a wolf, Lupa. Instead of eating them like a normal wild animal, she decides to raise them. Now, scientifically speaking, wolf milk probably isn't FDA approved for infants, but hey, it gave them superpowers or something. Eventually, a shepherd finds them, raises them, and they grow up to be big, strong, and surprisingly violent. They decide to found a city. Great idea. But there's a problem. Romulus wants the city here. Remus wants it there. Most people would flip a coin, or arm wrestle. But these are Roman founders, so they decide to watch birds. Yes, bird watching. Augury. Romulus sees 12 birds. Remus sees 6. Romulus wins. He starts building a wall. Remus thinks it's funny to jump over his brother's tiny wall. Romulus does not find it funny. In a fit of rage, which will become a recurring theme in Roman history, Romulus picks up a shovel and, well, he kills his brother over a wall. Romulus wipes his hands and names the city after himself. Rome. If Remus had won, we'd all be learning about the Roman Empire right now, which sounds like a brand of instant noodles. So, Rome is founded. But there's a catch. The population is just Romulus and a bunch of his sketchy friends. It's a sausage fest. They need women to, sustain the population. So Romulus invites the neighboring tribe, the Sabines, to a party. Hey neighbors, come over. Free wine. No weapons, we promise. The Sabines arrive. And at a signal, the Romans kidnap all the Sabine women. It's called the rape of the Sabine women, historically meaning abduction. And it is objectively terrible. The Sabine men come back later to fight, but the women, who apparently developed Stockholm Syndrome immediately, step in and say, stop fighting, we're Romans now. And just like that, Rome is a thing. A city built on fratricide, kidnapping, and swamp water. They cycle through 7 kings. The first ones are okay. The last one, Tarquin the Proud, is such a jerk that the Romans kick him out and decide, no more kings. Never again. Thus, the Roman Republic is born. The Republic is a cool system. 2 consuls, a senate, and the idea that the people, rich men, are in charge. SPQR. Senatus Populusque Romanus. But a republic needs to eat. And Rome is hungry. They invent the maniple system, basically a chessboard of soldiers that is way more flexible than the Greek phalanx. And they start conquering Italy. Samnites? Conquered. Etruscans? Absorbed. Greeks in the south? Bye-bye. By 264 BC, Rome controls the boot. But now, they look across the water and see a problem. Carthage, the superpower of the ancient world. They are rich, they have a massive navy, and they control trade. Rome is like the jealous neighbor who just bought a lawnmower, while Carthage owns a yacht. They get into a fight over Sicily. This starts the Punic Wars. Round 1 is a naval war. Problem? Carthage has amazing warships. Rome has rowboats and 0 experience. So, what does Rome do? Innovation? No. Plagiarism. They copy the enemy ship bolt for bolt. But because Romans suck at sailing but are great at stabbing, they install a corvus, a giant boarding ramp. So when they see a Carthaginian ship, they don't ram it. They smash this bridge down, run across, and turn a sea battle into a land battle. Genius. Rome wins round 1. Carthage is pissed. Enter the boss battle, Hannibal Barca. Hannibal is the greatest general Rome ever faced. He decides to invade Italy. But instead of sailing, he takes elephants. Over the Alps. In winter. half his army dies. The elephants are not having a good time. But he makes it. And then, he absolutely destroys the Romans. Battle of Lake Trasimene? Ambush. Battle of Cannae? Oh boy, Cannae. Hannibal pulls off the perfect encirclement. He kills 70,000 Romans in one afternoon. It's the worst defeat in Roman history. The Senate is in panic mode. The ghosts of our ancestors are crying. But here is Rome's true superpower: stubbornness. Any other country would surrender. Rome just says, "No, I didn't hear no bell." They refuse to quit. They raise a new army. They refuse to fight Hannibal directly. Instead, a guy named Scipio Africanus goes, "Hey, Hannibal is in Italy, that means nobody is defending Carthage." Hannibal has to rush home. Scipio defeats him at the Battle of Zama. Carthage is done. Rome is now the master of the Mediterranean. And once they got a taste of empire, they couldn't stop. Greece? Nice philosophy. We'll take it. Spain? Nice silver. Ours now. Egypt? Nice grain. And queens. The map is turning red very fast. Rome is flooded with gold and slaves. But remember the saying, mo money, mo problems? The Republic was designed to run a city, not a world. Generals like Marius and Sulla start marching their armies into Rome to seize power. It's chaos. Civil war becomes the national sport. The stage is set for a man who is half genius, half diva, and 100% ambitious. You know his name. He needs a salad named after him. The Republic is broken. The Senate is just a bunch of rich old men yelling at each other. The real power is in the hands of the generals. To fix this mess, 3 guys decide to team up. They form the first triumvirate. Sounds like a cool boy band, but it's actually a political mafia. The lineup: 1. Crassus, the richest man in Rome. Visual: guy swimming in gold coins like Scrooge McDuck. He owns the fire brigade but only puts out fires if you sell him your house first. A true capitalist. 2. Pompey, the most famous general. The Senate's golden boy. Visual: guy taking selfies with fans. 3. Julius Caesar, the wild card. He's charismatic, ambitious, and massive amounts of debt. Visual: Caesar checking his bank account, minus 1 million denarii. Caesar needs money and glory to pay off his debts. So he invades Gaul, modern-day France. The Senate didn't strictly tell him to conquer all of Gaul, but Caesar operates on the principle of, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. He spends 8 years committing what can only be described as a genocide against the Gallic tribes. He kills 1 million, enslaves 1 million. He writes a book about himself called The Gallic Wars, which is basically propaganda. I came, I saw, I conquered, veni, vidi, vici. He sends these reports back to Rome. The people love him. He's a rock star. But back in Rome, Crassus dies, tries to invade Parthia, gets molten gold poured down his throat. Fun irony. And Pompey gets jealous. The Senate orders Caesar to disband his army and return to Rome to stand trial for war crimes. Caesar has 2 choices. A. Go home, get arrested, lose everything. B. Commit treason and start a civil war. Caesar chooses violence. Crossing the Rubicon is the point of no return. Pompey and the Senate panic. Wait, he actually did it? They flee Rome. Caesar chases Pompey all over the map. Spain, Greece, finally, Egypt. When Caesar arrives in Egypt, the locals present him with a gift: Pompey's head in a basket. Caesar is actually mad. Only I get to defeat Pompey. But while he's in Egypt, he meets Cleopatra. She rolls herself up in a carpet to sneak into his room. They have a strategic alliance. Caesar secures Egypt, then goes back to Rome. He declares himself dictator perpetuo, dictator for life. He starts fixing things. He fixes the calendar, the Julian calendar, thank him for July. He gives land to the poor. He fills the Senate with his friends. The old senators, Brutus, Cassius, and the gang, are terrified. They think he wants to be a king. And Romans hate kings. Remember chapter 1? So they come up with a plan. Caesar sits down. The senators surround him, pretending to ask for favors. Then, Casca pulls out a knife. It's a frenzy. 23 stabs. Caesar sees his friend Brutus, the guy he treated like a son. Et tu, Brute? You too, bro? Caesar falls. The Republic falls with him. Plot twist. The people loved Caesar. The senators have to run for their lives. Now there's a power vacuum. Enter 2 new contestants. 1. Mark Antony, Caesar's best general and party animal. 2. Octavian, Caesar's 18-year-old grandnephew and adopted son. The nerd. They team up to kill the assassins, then immediately turn on each other. Mark Antony goes to Egypt and hooks up with, guess who? Cleopatra. She has a type. Octavian stays in Rome and runs a smear campaign. Antony has gone native. He's un-Roman. He's simping for a queen. Antony and Cleopatra commit suicide, Romeo and Juliet style, but with snakes. Octavian is the last man standing. He returns to Rome, but he's smart. He doesn't call himself king or dictator. He calls himself first citizen, princeps. I'm just a regular guy, restoring the republic, totally not an emperor. Spoiler, he is the first emperor. He changes his name to Augustus. The republic is dead. The empire is born. Augustus rules for 40 years. He is arguably the greatest politician who ever lived. He transforms Rome from a city of brick into a city of marble. He kicks off the Pax Romana, the Roman peace. For about 200 years, there are relatively few major wars inside the empire. This is when Rome becomes the Rome we think of. Roman engineering is insane. They build 50,000 miles of roads. They build aqueducts to bring fresh water into the cities because hygiene is important. Public baths are basically ancient water parks, business centers. They invent concrete that gets stronger over time. We still don't fully know how they did it. Probably aliens. Just kidding. It was volcanic ash. But how do you keep 1 million people in Rome from rioting? Simple. Bread and circuses, panem et circenses. Give them free food. Give them violent entertainment. The Colosseum. The Flavian Amphitheater. 50,000 seats. Retractable roof. Flooding mechanism for sea battles. It was the premier sports stadium of antiquity. But it wasn't all fun and games. The Pax Romana had some interesting emperors. After Augustus died, things got weird. Despite these lunatics, the system worked because the bureaucracy was so good. The army was professional. The trade was booming. You could walk from Syria to Scotland using the same currency, speaking the same language, Greek or Latin, and walking on paved roads. The peak comes with the 5 good emperors: Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, Antoninus Pius, and Marcus Aurelius. Trajan expands the empire to its biggest extent. Hadrian looks at Scotland and says, "Nope, too scary," and builds a massive wall to keep the Scots out. Then we have Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king. He writes Meditations, basically a self-help book for Stoics, while fighting wars in the mud. He's a great guy, but he makes one fatal mistake. Instead of adopting a competent successor like the others did, he leaves the empire to his biological son, Commodus. Commodus is an idiot. He thinks he is Hercules. He ruins the economy. He destabilizes the army. His reign marks the end of the Pax Romana. When he gets strangled in his bath, a classic Roman exit, the golden age is over. The crisis of the 3rd century is about to begin. And folks, it is going to be a disaster movie. Welcome to the crisis of the 3rd century. Imagine a dumpster fire. Now put that dumpster inside a sinking ship. That ship is inside a tornado. That is Rome between 235 and 284 AD. In just 50 years, Rome had 26 emperors. Most of them died of acute metal poisoning, aka getting stabbed. Being emperor was literally a death sentence. The Praetorian Guard, the guys hired to protect the emperor, realized they could just kill the boss and sell the job to the highest bidder. At one point, they literally auctioned off the empire. A guy named Didius Julianus yelled, "I'll give you 25,000 sestertia per soldier." Sold! He became emperor. He lasted 9 weeks before, you guessed it, sound, slice, refund denied. Meanwhile, the economy collapsed. To pay the soldiers, emperors started debasing the currency. They put less silver in the coins. Eventually, a silver coin was just a piece of bronze washed in silver paint. Inflation skyrocketed. People stopped using money and went back to trading chickens. Rome actually split into 3 pieces: the Gallic Empire, the Palmyrene Empire, and Rome. It looked like game over, but then a hero arrived, a guy named Aurelian. He wears a mask that says "Restorer of the World." Aurelian reunites the empire in just 5 years. He is an absolute beast. And his reward? His secretary forged a document saying Aurelian is going to kill you guys, showed it to the guards, and they killed him. Because of course they did. Enter Diocletian. He realizes one guy cannot rule this mess. So he splits the empire into 4 parts. The Tetrarchy. 2 senior emperors, Augusti, and 2 junior emperors, Caesars. It brings stability. And then Diocletian does the impossible. He retires. He literally quits his job to go farm cabbages. Visual, Diocletian lovingly petting a cabbage. My precious. But the moment he leaves, everyone starts fighting again. Out of the battle royale emerges Constantine the Great. Constantine legalizes Christianity. Overnight, Christians go from lion food to the state religion. It's the biggest cultural shift in Western history. Constantine also decides Rome, the city, is old, dirty, and full of politicians. He wants a new crib. He moves the capital to the east, to the ancient city of Byzantium. He renames it Constantinople. Istanbul was Constantinople. Now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople. Sorry, catchy song. This is the official divorce. The East speaks Greek, has all the trade routes, and is super rich. The West speaks Latin, has no money, and has very angry neighbors. Speaking of neighbors, the Huns. They arrive from the east and scare the Goths. The Goths run away, straight into Roman territory. The Romans treat the Goths badly. Shocking, I know. So the Goths rebel. Battle of Adrianople, 378 AD. The Goths kill the Eastern Emperor Valens. This is the beginning of the end. The walls are breached. Rome gets sacked. Then it gets sacked again by the Vandals, where we get the word vandalism. The Western Empire is a skeleton. The emperors are just puppets controlled by barbarian generals. Finally, in 476 AD, a barbarian general named Odoacer walks up to the emperor. The last emperor is a 16-year-old kid. His name? Romulus Augustulus. Odoacer doesn't even bother killing him. He just says, "You're fired. Get out." He takes the crown, sends it to Constantinople, and says, "We don't need an emperor in the West anymore." And just like that, poof, the Western Roman Empire is gone. Fallen. Kaput. Germany, France, Spain, Italy, they all start doing their own thing. The Dark Ages begin. But did Rome actually fall? Well, the East, the Byzantine Empire, lasted another 1,000 years until 1453. And even in the West, Rome is still here. Look around. The alphabet you are reading right now? Latin. The names of the months? Roman. July for Caesar, August for Augustus. The laws, the government systems, the concrete in your driveway, the planets in the sky, it's all Roman. They showed us the height of human civilization and the depth of human stupidity. Rome wasn't built in a day, and it took a hell of a long time to destroy it.